Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. US General monitors first withdrawal of Israeli troops from Lebanon. Lebanese Prime Minister terms it as fundamental step in implementation of ceasefire decision. US President-elect Donald Trump seeks to hit the diplomatic ground running as he prepares for office, has invited China Xi Jinping to attend inauguration ceremony on January 20th. Fourth India-UAE strategic dialogue set to kick off in New Delhi. High-level UAE delegation including Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Affairs Minister to also call on Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. India's D. Gukesh and Chinese Ding Liren continues to slug it out for coveted title at World Chess Championship. Score remains locked at 6.5 points each. No result in final match will pave way for a tiebreaker decider. And Saudi Arabia to host Men's Soccer World Cup in 2034. Spain, Portugal and Morocco named co-hosts for 2030 edition. Israeli forces conducted a first withdrawal from a town in South Lebanon and were replaced by the Lebanese military under a ceasefire deal which came into effect on November 27, though both sides have accused the other of repeated violations. As part of the agreement, the Lebanese army and United Nations peacekeepers will deploy in southern Lebanon as the Israeli army withdraws over a period of 60 days. Hezbollah is also meant to withdraw its forces north of the Litani River, about 30 kilometers from the border, and dismantle its military infrastructure in southern Lebanon. Lebanese Prime Minister Najib Mikati hailed the development and said that the stationing of its troops represents a fundamental step towards strengthening the army's deployment in the south and an implementation of a ceasefire decision. US President-elect Donald Trump has invited Chinese President Xi Jinping to attend his inauguration next month. US media reported on Wednesday the invitation to January 20th inauguration in Washington occurred in early November, shortly after the November 5 presidential election. It was not clear if it had been accepted. Trump said in a recent interview that he got along very well with Xi and that they had communication as recently as this week. Trump has named numerous China hawks to key posts in his incoming administration, including Senator Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. Trump has said he will impose an additional 10% tariff on Chinese goods unless Beijing does more to stop the trafficking of the highly addictive narcotic fentanyl. In late November, China's state media warned Trump that his pledge to slap additional tariffs could drag the world's top two economies into a mutually destructive tariff war. And FBI Director Christopher Wray announced the resignation effective early next year. The move comes after Republican President-elect Donald Trump signaled his intent to fire Wray and replace him with Kash Patel. This development marks the second time Trump has driven out an FBI director following his firing of James Comey in 2017. Wray's departure is a result of Trump's displeasure with the FBI's investigation into classified documents found at his Florida resort. On his social media platform, Truth Social, Trump called Wray's resignation a great day for America.
After weeks of careful thought, I've decided the right thing for the Bureau is for me to serve until the end of the current administration in January and then step down. My goal is to keep the focus on our mission, on the indispensable work each of you is doing every single day. And in my view, this is the best way to avoid dragging the Bureau deeper into the fray while reinforcing the values and principles that are so important in how we do our work. Now, it should go without saying, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyways. This is not easy for me. I love this place. I love our mission, and I love our people. But my focus is, and always has been, on us and on doing what's right for the FBI.
The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken departed Wednesday for Jordan and later Turkey, seeking to rally regional countries around a common vision for Syria's future following the ousting of longtime authoritarian ruler Bashar al-Assad. The Secretary will reiterate the United States' support for an inclusive Syrian-led transition to an accountable and representative government. He will discuss the need for the transition process and new government to prevent Syria from being used as a base of terrorism or posing a threat to its neighbors. Besides ensuring that the secured and safe destruction of chemical or biological weapons stockpiles take place, Secretary Blinken will also emphasize that displaced Syrians in the region will continue to need access to protection. And in other key developments in Syria, caretaker Prime Minister linked to the rebel group that toppled longtime dictator Bashar al-Assad's regime in Syria has been appointed to oversee the transition of power. Meanwhile, the country's Ba'ath Party, which had been led by Assad's family for decades, is suspending its work and activities until further notice. The main commander of the fighters said that he would dissolve the security forces of the former regime, close its prisons and hunt down anyone involved in the torture or killing of detainees. Israel said it struck Syria nearly 500 times in 2 days, hitting most of the country's strategic weapons stockpiles and destroying its Navy fleet. With the administration of U.S. President Joe Biden entering his final weeks in office, Blinken and U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan headed to the Middle East on Wednesday to help ensure a smooth transition in Syria. Their separate itineraries include stops in Jordan, Turkey, Israel, Qatar and Egypt. For refugees, the prospect of returning home has brought a mixture of joy and grief over hardship in exile. Syrians lined up at the Turkish border on Wednesday to head home. Now, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said there were signs of hope in Syria following the overthrow of President Bashar al-Assad by rebel forces over the weekend. Guterres said the United Nations was committed to a smooth transition of power in Syria.
As we speak, we are witnessing the reshaping of the Middle East, with the changes in the correlation of forces among the key regional actors, with the immense tragedy of the Palestinian people, whose right for self-determination and whose right to have their own state must be constantly reaffirmed. But we also see some signs of hope, and signs of hope namely coming from the end of the Syrian dictatorship.
Even after Taliban took over the mantle of power in Afghanistan, terrorist violence has not stopped in the war-torn nation on Wednesday. The Afghan Minister for Refugees, Khalil-ur-Rahman Haqqani, was killed in a suicide bombing at the ministry's office in capital Kabul. Many other officials and government staff present were also killed in the suicide attack. The Islamic State claimed the responsibility for the attack. The Taliban authorities have said the attack as cowardly. The attack put a question mark on the stability of Taliban regime, as Khalil-ur-Rahman Haqqani was the brother of Jalaluddin Haqqani, founder of the feared Haqqani network, and he was also uncle of the current Interior Minister Sirajuddin Haqqani. This was also not the first attack targeting a minister since the Taliban returned to power in 2021. In 2022, a blast took place near the Interior Ministry led by Haqqani network leader Sirajuddin, killing 4 people. In 2023, Islamic State claimed an attack outside the Taliban-run Foreign Ministry that killed at least 5. The U.S. Treasury had Khalil classified Haqqani as a specially designated global terrorist in 2011, and the State Department offered a $5 million reward for information leading to his arrest. And U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken defended the 2021 U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan as an ending of the country's longest war that freed sources for other conflicts in testimony in the House of Representatives on Wednesday. Republican Representative Michael McCall, the panel's chairman, blasted the administration for the deaths of 13 Americans in a suicide attack at Kabul's airport in August 2021 and for thousands of Afghans who worked with US forces who could not be evacuated as Taliban took over. Blinken told the House Foreign Affairs Committee hearing that every American who wanted to leave Afghanistan has been given the opportunity to leave. It is likely his final public testimony to lawmakers before leaving office next month.
I firmly believe the President's decision to withdraw from Afghanistan was the right one. American troops are no longer fighting and dying in Afghanistan. The American people are safer and more secure. In fact, many of the most pessimistic predictions have been thoroughly disproven. We were told Afghanistan would once again become a haven for terrorists, and that, as the majority report contends, we would be all but blind to the situation on the ground. In fact, Al-Qaeda, the group that attacked us on 9/11, has not regrouped in Afghanistan.
Violence escalated in Haiti as gunmen killed 9 people in the latest spasm of violence by the Caribbean nation's powerful gangs. The attackers kidnapped an undisclosed number of people and set fire to houses. The assault was seen as revenge by gangsters against locals who had helped officers retake control of a police headquarters. As per United Nations, around 5,000 people have died in country's unrest this year. Haiti has suffered from decades of instability, but the situation escalated in February when gangs launched coordinated attacks in the capital to overthrow then Prime Minister Ariel Henry. The United States, meanwhile, announced extended restrictions on US flights to Haiti. The new regulation goes into effect from Thursday. And France has started the withdrawal of its military from Chad with the departure of 2 warplanes 2 weeks after Chad said it was ending its defense cooperation pact with Paris. In a surprise move, the government of Chad, an ally of the West in the fight against Islamist militants in the region, ended the defense cooperation pact on November 28. Terms and conditions of the withdrawal and whether any French troops will remain in the Central African country altogether have yet to be agreed. But on Tuesday, the first Mirage warplanes returned to their base in eastern France. France has already pulled its soldiers out of Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger following military coups in those West African countries and spreading anti-French sentiment. Now, the Franklin fire in the beach community of Malibu, California raged unchecked on Wednesday after destroying several structures and forcing residents to flee and schools to close in the area. More than 1,500 firefighters were battling the Franklin fire, which officials said was approximately 3,983 acres and is 7% contained as it burned in the steep, rugged terrain northwest of Los Angeles. The fire, which started on Monday night, has destroyed at least 7 structures and damaged 8 others. Evacuation orders and warnings remain in place on Wednesday for parts of the city of 10,000 people. Roadways, including a portion of the Pacific Coast Highway, were shut down as the fire burned nearby. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Winter session of India's Parliament begins on day 14 today with hopes amidst disruptions. Surat's Gavier Lake has become a winter retreat for thousands of migratory birds. And India's Ladakh and Jammu and Kashmir will host the Khelo India Winter Games in early 2025.
Nature could easily survive without us. We, however, couldn't really survive without it. But with these environmental problems, how do we make sure to secure our future? Let's find out.
So you just have to bring the sand from one place where it's not needed to the other place where it's needed. So that's called sand bypassing, sand nourishment. So that's the heart of the project.
Remediating the wetland will mean that the life of the wetland comes back to it. And if that happens, there will be money in every household inside that depends on the river.
It doesn't matter whether a farmer is educated, uneducated, skilled or not. This is a user-friendly app.
Skilled labor தான் இதை யூஸ் பண்ண முடியுங்கிறது கிடையவே கிடையாது.
A single touch is all it takes to operate and control the system. Anyone can use the app.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. India and the United Arab Emirates will carry out a comprehensive review of their strategic ties on Thursday. United Arab Emirates Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan is in New Delhi to take part in the 4th India-UAE strategic dialogue. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will host his counterpart from the Gulf nation Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan at the dialogue, where two leaders will review the entire gamut of bilateral strategic ties. The two sides are also expected to deliberate on the regional security scenario, including the developments in Syria. Besides, during the three-day India visit, the visiting dignitary will also call on Prime Minister Narendra Modi and attend the strategic dialogue and the 15th India-UAE Joint Commission meeting. Earlier, welcoming the UAE leader, Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Randeep Jaiswal said the visit will further strengthen the multifaceted, comprehensive strategic partnership between India and UAE. Also visiting India is the Portuguese Minister of State and Foreign Affairs Paulo Rangel. According to a release by the External Affairs Ministry, Rangel will hold a crucial meeting with External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Friday. Then on Saturday, he will participate in some programs in Goa. Notably, last month, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a bilateral meeting with his Portuguese counterpart Luis Montenegro, where they focused on strengthening economic partnership. PM Modi said that both countries explored opportunities for more collaboration in sectors like renewable energy and green hydrogen. Parliament updates now. The daily proceedings of the winter session of Indian Parliament to resume, with important bills to be taken up for discussions. The Upper House of Parliament to discuss Banking Laws Amendment Bill 2024. This amendment aims to provide greater flexibility and convenience for account holders by updating the nomination rules. While the Lower House Lok Sabha to take up Disaster Management Amendment Bill 2024, readjustment of representation of scheduled tribes in assembly constituencies of the state of Goa Bill 2024. Now, the Indian Met Department predicted cold wave conditions at isolated pockets over northwest and adjoining central part of the country over the next few days. The Met Department noted that cold wave conditions were observed in isolated pockets over Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. Also, chilly winds on Wednesday marked the arrival of cold wave conditions in the national capital, with the IMD issuing a yellow alert warning of similar cold wave conditions for the next 2 days. In addition to the cold wave, the IMD also predicted dense fog conditions during late night and early morning hours in isolated pockets of East Uttar Pradesh, Sub-Himalayan West Bengal, Sikkim and Bihar. And the Indian Met Department has alerted that southern states of Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh are set to experience heavy rainfall due to a significant low pressure area hovering over the southwest and adjoining southeast Bay of Bengal. This weather phenomenon has prompted the issuance of an orange alert for Tamil Nadu, Puducherry, Kerala and Mahe, indicating expectations of heavy rain. A yellow alert signalling rain is in place for coastal Andhra Pradesh and south interior Karnataka over the next 2 days. This weather forecast signifies the potential for severe weather conditions in these regions, with residents advised to prepare for the upcoming heavy rains. Now let's take a look at other stories making news today. A 5-year-old boy who fell into a 150 feet deep borewell in Rajasthan's Dosa was rescued after an over 55-hour-long operation. An official said he was taken to a hospital in an ambulance in an unconscious state. The authorities have not disclosed his medical condition. The boy fell in the borewell while playing in a field in Kalikhat village on Monday, and the rescue operation began an hour later. Security forces uncovered a terrorist hideout in the Mahor area of Riasi district, leading to the recovery of a cache of arms and ammunition. Officials said the recovered items included an AK series rifle, 2 pistols and 4 grenades. The operation was conducted based on intelligence inputs aiming to curb terrorist activities in the region. Preparations are underway in Prayagraj of Uttar Pradesh for Mahakumbh 2025. According to reports, Mahakumbh Mela is scheduled to begin from January 13 next year and it will end on February 26. The upcoming Mahakumbh is expected to draw an overwhelming crowd of 40 crore pilgrims. This will surpass the previous record of 25 crore attendees during the 2019 event. Now, Surat's Xavier Lake has become a winter retreat for thousands of migratory birds, transforming the area into a thriving ecosystem that blends nature, wildlife and tourism. Located in the silent zone near Dumas, this pristine lake currently hosts over 2,000 migratory birds, drawing visitors and bird enthusiasts from across the country. Alright, sports updates now. Indian challenger D. Gukesh and defending champion Ding Liren of China played out a draw in the 13th game of the World Chess Championship to remain level on points on Wednesday. The draw match left Gukesh and Liren on an identical tally of 6.5 points each, still shy of 1 point in order to win the championship. The two players signed peace after 69 moves. Liren had won the opening game while Gukesh had emerged victorious in the third game to draw level. The two grandmasters then played 7 consecutive draws before Gukesh broke the deadlock in the 11th game to take a 6-5 lead, but Liren drew level in the 12th game in a dramatic victory. In the final game also ends in a draw. Then the title will be decided via faster paced games as a tiebreaker. And World Football governing body FIFA on Wednesday announced that 2030 men's competition will be held in Spain, Portugal and Morocco. The 2030 World Cup takes place across 3 continents and 6 nations, with one-off matches in Uruguay, Argentina and Paraguay hosting celebratory games to mark the tournament's centenary.
It is my great pleasure to announce that the FIFA centenary celebration matches as part of the FIFA World Cup 2030 will be hosted jointly by Uruguay, Argentina and Paraguay. And now we can officially confirm that the hosts of the FIFA World Cup 2030 will be Morocco, Portugal and Spain. Mabruk, felicitación, parabéns, felicidades.
And the FIFA Extraordinary Congress meeting also confirmed Saudi Arabia as the host of 2034 FIFA World Cup on Wednesday.
It is a great pleasure that I can confirm that the host of the FIFA World Cup 2034 will be Saudi Arabia. Mabruk, Mabruk to our friends in Riyadh.
And jubilant soccer fans jumped up and down and cheered in Riyadh on Wednesday as Saudi Arabia was confirmed as the host of the 2034 World Cup. Saudi Arabia will become the second Middle Eastern nation to host the tournament after Qatar staged the tournament in 2022. And India gears up for an exciting sports season. Ladakh and Jammu and Kashmir will host the Khelo India Winter Games in early 2025, spotlighting Olympic talent. Meanwhile, the Fit India Cyclothon starts on December 17, promoting fitness and green awareness. Plus, the National Sports Repository System is streamlining athlete registration and rewards, revolutionizing India's sports ecosystem.
Get ready for an action-packed season of sports as India takes giant strides towards becoming a global sports powerhouse. Khelo India Winter Games. The 2025 Khelo India season kicks off with thrilling Winter Games. the Union Territory of Ladakh will host the Ice Games from January 23rd to 27th, featuring skating, ice hockey and more. Meanwhile, Jammu and Kashmir will stage the Snow Games in Gulmarg from February 22nd to 25th, showcasing skiing, snowboarding and other exciting sports. These games are crucial for identifying top talent to represent India at the 2026 Winter Olympics. Fit India Movement. The Fit India Movement is back with its flagship event, the Fit India Cyclothon. Launching as Cycling Tuesdays on December 17th, the grand event will start from the Major Dhyan Chand National Stadium with a scenic route along Kartavya Path to Raisina Hills and back. Simultaneously, a 3-kilometer cyclothon will take place at 100 locations nationwide, promoting community spirit, green awareness and a call to combat air pollution. National Sports Repository System, or the NSRS. Modernizing sports in India, the National Sports Repository System offers a seamless platform for athletes, coaches to register and track their progress. New features include automatic cash award disbursals through direct benefit transfer and integration with national federations and anti-doping portals. This unified platform ensures transparency, efficiency and a detailed history for every athlete. With initiatives like the Khelo India Winter Games, Fit India Cyclothon and NSRS, India is not just building a sports culture but nurturing champions of tomorrow. Stay tuned and be part of this revolution. Tapas Bhattacharya's report for DD India.
And India's public broadcaster Prasar Bharati has recently launched Waves, entering the field of OTT platform. Waves provides a complete infotainment ecosystem to digital media and OTT audiences. If you also want great content for free, then download Waves today. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.